YouTube, this is Vargas, and I'm here with the first comic book pickup video of 2020. I've mentioned this before. One of the things I have cut back on is comic books. I'm not picking up as many comic books as I used to. The only books I'm picking up are Batman, because I'm still collecting Batman. And if they would publish a Swamp Thing or a Wolverine comic book, I would pick up that. But they canceled Swamp Thing a couple of years ago, and there hasn't been any new Wolverine solo book, since they also canceled the X-23 book. So, but I am still picking up the dollar comic books, and Doomsday Clock finally concluded, so I picked up that. But first, I wanted to talk about this. There's the mall where I go to pick up my comic books. Has a collectible store, not as big as Spookables or another place like that. They just sell used books, sometimes video games, not always, CDs and DVDs and some other stuff. So whenever I go to the comic book store, I like to really quickly go there, see what they got, because sometimes they do have some good horror movies, but they didn't have any horror movies, but they did have this DVD. And it's Kurosawa, a documentary on the acclaimed director. And I picked this one up because I've never seen this documentary, and I'm a huge fan of Akira Kurosawa. He directed Seven Samurai, Ran, Throne of Blood, Yojimbo, Redbeard, a whole bunch of really cool Japanese movies. And I've never seen this, and I wanted to check out this documentary on one of my favorite directors. So really cool. It's like it says 215 minutes, of 2 hours and a half maybe. So it's a really hefty documentary. So awesome. Also, the comic book store was giving out. They were selling this, but because I renewed my membership for 2020, they gave me this really cool Legion ring. I already have a Legion ring that they gave me. Oh crap, now I don't remember if I got it at Comic-Con or if I got it at the comic book store. But this one has a different L logo. The one I got is a little bit more straight. This one's a new Legion ring from the Legion of Superheroes. They're finally making a comeback. Never a huge Legion of Superheroes fan, but I like the design, and I got that for free, so awesome. So like I said, only picking up Batman. They didn't have, or they skipped, I didn't realize this until I got home, and I was reading through them, but they skipped a book that I had on my pull list, which is Batman 82. The last Batman book I got was 81, but I already sent an email. Hopefully I'll be able to get a copy of Batman 81. I'm sorry, Batman 82, which is part of the City of Bane story arc, where Batman actually beats Bane. But this is issue 83, the aftermath of that, and in this one, Batman sees that they killed Alfred, which was the big death in this story arc. Then Batman 84 has Batman finding the Flashpoint version of Thomas Wayne, and then Batman 85 is a double-sized issue with a hefty price, but this concludes that story arc and puts an end to Bane and Flashpoint Batman. And then issue 86 is a new writer has taken over the book, and it's his new story arc, and then this one has Batman fighting Deathstroke. So yeah, so collecting Batman for the foreseeable future. I don't think they're gonna stop publishing Batman. Then I picked up Doomsday Clock. The last 3 issues I needed of that. This series has been really plagued by delays. It started off strong. It was really cool because the concept is DC versus the Watchmen, but the delays have really hurt this book. But I got issue 10, issue 11, and issue 12. And this one was supposedly going to have a big fight between Dr. Manhattan, which is like the god-like being in Watchmen, against Superman. It doesn't have that. It goes a different route. So all the build up to this epic fight between Superman and Doctor Manhattan didn't happen. So that was kind of disappointing, honestly. But it does introduce a couple of things that it plants the seeds for possible things in the future. So yeah. For a dollar, DC also got into the dollar books. Marvel was doing it first with the True Believers $1 comic books. DC was doing it with their dollar comics, a play on their DC dollar comics DC. And from that line, I got the first issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths. They released this one to promote the same miniseries that was happening in the TV shows. And this is like the big event of DC. It's they wiped the slate clean of all the multiverse, and it's their big giant epic event. This is a 12-issue thing, and I suppose I should have gotten the trade, but I wanted to read this one because I have read it, and it's really, really good. The artwork is amazing. The writing is really cool. But for $1, I got this. Then they also released these facsimile editions, which are just reprints of old comic books. And I don't collect comic books because I think I'm going to retire out of them. I collect comic books because I like reading the stories, not because of how much they're going to be worth. So if I can read a book that I'm missing for $1, or it's a reprint of an older issue that I can't get, I'll plop in the money and I'll buy it. And this is a reprint, facsimile edition of Batman issue 251, which has the Joker. And the Joker is my favorite DC villain, so of course I was going to get that. Also, Marvel had this facsimile edition of Uncanny X-Men 266, which I needed to complete a run I have on Uncanny X-Men. This is the first appearance of Gambit, which I didn't have. So now I'm only missing the issue where it's the flashback issue with Captain America and the Black Widow, and I'll have a good run of Uncanny X-Men. Then I read about this crossover, and I was like, I gotta get on this, and I got issue 1 and 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the first couple of seasons, but I was only really got into it until after they got rid of Lord Zed, because his design was really cool. It was like a horror movie villain, and the Ninja Turtles, I've always been a fan of the Ninja Turtles. So seeing this crossover, it looks really interesting. And I also got issue 2, but this one has a variant cover with the looks like Michelangelo holding the Yellow Ranger helmet. So this is pretty cool. Dollar comic book of Batman Brave and the Bold, Batman and Catwoman finding the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow. It's a really cool villain that doesn't get used that much, except in the Batman video games. Then True Believers, first appearance of the Masters of Evil and the Avengers. True Believers X-Men Apocalypse, the first appearance of Apocalypse. Then DC Dollar Comics, the first issue of Watchmen, another 12-issue miniseries that changed the landscape of comic books. And this is also in a trade, but I wanted to read, again, for $1. I was like, I'll buy the first issue for $1. True Believers X-Men, the first appearance of Moira McTaggart. So yeah. True Believers Uncanny X-Men, the first appearance of Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. Again, these are reprints. They're not the original books, but getting those early X-Men books and Marvel books or even DC books are not that easy for me. I don't have the money to buy these older books, so a reprint for $1, as long as I can read the story and enjoy it, I don't care if it's a reprint. I'm not into comic book collecting for the money. And this is True Believers. The first, I thought the first appearance of this character was in Fantastic Four, but it's a Super Skrull in an issue of Thor. Because they released the True Believers Fantastic Four Super Skrull, but this one is in Thor, so I don't know what's up with that. True Believers Moondragon, but it has Iron Man against Namor there, which is cool. True Believers first appearance of Mantis. Hell yeah. True Believers, Amazing Spider-Man, the first appearance of the Green Goblin, guest starring the Hulk. And the last one, True Believers, Daredevil, the first appearance of Bullseye, who would later went on to kill Elektra. I was really hoping they would release the first appearance of Elektra, because I really like that character. Even though I do have her first appearance in a little trade that they released. So yeah, this was the comic book pick of it. Like I said, a lot of $1 comic books because I find myself going back and enjoying the older stuff a lot more than the newer stuff. The newer stuff just, I don't know. I'm not collecting any Marvel book. The only one I really regret not getting into was the new X-Men things. But I've caught up on some of the stuff, and the thing they're doing there is kind of weird. But yeah, if you like comic books and you want to get into the older stuff, buy these $1 reprints. They're good, as long as you aren't into collecting comic books for the money. You can't go wrong with reading good stories with classic artwork for $1. So, which is what I'm doing. The only book I'm still collecting is, like I said, Batman. And if they would publish Swamp Thing or Wolverine, I would pick up Swamp Thing or Wolverine, because I really like those characters. So yeah, the one I've enjoyed the most is Batman. I always go with Batman because that's why I still keep collecting it. But yeah, good stuff. I just really hope they can get a copy of issue 82 because I really need that to complete that series. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this hopefully brief comic book update video. Like I said, I'm sporadically buying comic books, so you won't see this as often as I would like. But until I see you all again, thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.